Hey, how's it going? Let's see what's been happening in the news. It's not the most traditional career, but being an influencer is obviously pretty big these days. For years, companies have been teaming up with instafamous people to sell stuff. And lately, influencers have also been getting involved in Aussie tourism campaigns. And that's brought up some pretty interesting questions.
From looking at their accounts, it seems like these guys had a pretty amazing time in the Kimberley. But these 40 influencers weren't on a personal holiday. This trip was partly paid for by the Western Australian government. It's something other state and territory governments have done before as well, paying for social media stars to visit somewhere and then talk about it on social media. Experts say it's way cheaper than putting together a big budget campaign, and influencers can reach millions and millions of people online each day. Oh, and the industry is expected to get even bigger in the future. But the government's still using taxpayer money, which comes from Aussie workers. And some of those taxpayers reckon they shouldn't be paying for everyday people, like these influencers, to live the high life. Either way, the WA government says this is only a small part of its tourism plan to encourage the world to visit this awesome country.
Check out this story from Russia where a passenger plane had to make an emergency landing in the middle of a cornfield. Just after the plane took off, it ran into a flock of birds, which caused some problems with the engines. The pilots realised they had to make an emergency landing, so without any landing gear, they managed to safely bring it down right here. A few people were taken to hospital, but authorities say none of the 223 people on board were seriously hurt. The pilots have been called heroes, and the Russian government says they'll be given a special award. Aussie tennis player Nick Kyrgios is in trouble again. This time, it's over his behaviour at the Cincinnati Masters. During the match, he smashed some rackets, yelled some nasty things at the umpire, and refused to shake his hand at the end. That earned him a bunch of fines, which in total came to around $166,000. Oh, and he lost the match too, so not a great day for Kyrgios. The woolly mammoth has been extinct for thousands of years, and obviously it's not coming back anytime soon. But Israel wants to change its classification from extinct to endangered to help fight elephant poaching. Confused? Leela's got it covered.
Well, Amelia, first let me ask you a question. How do you tell the difference between a woolly mammoth tusk and an elephant tusk? The answer is, you pretty much can't. They're both made of ivory, and in some countries around the world, that makes them really valuable. While a woolly mammoth tusk is legal to trade, in most places an elephant tusk isn't. So conservationists reckon traffickers can get around the elephant tusk ban by passing them off as mammoth tusks. Even though these guys aren't around anymore, their tusks can still be found in some places, buried in snow.
They're not fossil, they're only a few thousand years old and they're frozen there.
Israel reckons that if we officially list woolly mammoths as endangered, then we can introduce tougher trade rules and avoid any dodgy mix-ups. But others say there's better ways to stop the illegal ivory trade and help protect these awesome creatures.
And finally, they say the best things come in twos. Wait, do they? Oh. Anyway, it's definitely true of this next segment. It's seeing double. These adorable southern sea otter pups are just taking it easy after being rescued last month and coming to live at this aquarium in the US.
So they're not biologically related, but they've been getting along really, really well. They like to wrestle around, they like to play with each other.
They also like to take nice long naps. Meet Skybot F850 and his human operator. Russia's space agency Roscosmos is preparing the robot for a trip to space. It's a test to see how well it can help the crew with work on the International Space Station, so that maybe one day a whole crew of Skybots will be up there doing the more dangerous space jobs. And finally, a French festival dedicated to twins. There were twins married to other twins, twin grandpas with twin grandkids, and twin psychic connections, of course.
I wanted to buy her a puzzle with a photo from our holiday last year, and she ended up giving me the same puzzle with the same photo without having talked about it. It was cool. We were surprised.
There were even twin performers. Hashtag twinning. There's only one more day until BTN sits down with the Prime Minister of Australia to ask him your questions. We've already had some amazing questions sent in by Christy, Sophie and Shelley. Great work, guys. So make sure you comment below with your question for the Prime Minister, whatever you like, anything fun or serious. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on hearing his answers.